Hey everyone, my name is Jerry from AccordionMemories.com. Back in 2018, I had the extraordinary pleasure of meeting the curator and owner of the New England Accordion Connection and Accordion Museum in Canaan, Connecticut. The gentleman's name is Paul Ramunni. We've since then become good friends. And I would like to share with you a little bit of an interview that he and I did back in 2018. So Paul, this love affair that you have with accordions, would you be able to share with us a little bit how it started, how this evolved into this wonderful museum, and why don't you tell us a little bit about your book?
Okay, I think I can do that. It started when I was 10 years old, out on Long Island, New York, where my mother came to me and said, "Your father and I want you to learn how to play the accordion." And I remember saying to her at the age of 10, "Anything but that, Mom, anything but that." But the long story short was I ended up playing from 10 to 17 years of age, 18 years of age actually, and then I went off to college. And the accordion went into a closet for 42 years. Now, fast forward to 2008, and we're on vacation in Vermont, in the middle of nowhere, and I woke up one day wanting to play the accordion again. And a long story short on that is that I started looking around and finding them. Tag sales, garage sales, people had them in their closets, in their basements, in their attics, and I started collecting them. But what came with the accordion were the stories. And these were not stories of the players of the day that were well known. These were average individuals that took their common units, their simple accordions, and took them into places that you would never think you'd find an accordion. War zones, senior centers, hospitals, places where people were in trouble. And the accordion became a therapeutic device, if you will, that brought happiness to people. It turns out that the sound of the accordion is a happy sound, and people only took them out to play them when they wanted to be happy. So people came when they heard the music, and instantly people became friends. There was no need to translate the music, regardless of your ethnic background, race, color, creed. The music was understood, and it had a binding effect on folks, brought people together. And I was picking all this up in the stories. And what happened then, I guess I was motivated to put them down on paper, and that once I collected them, I sat back and said, wow, this has to be published. And out came the book. And it's just been released September 1st, 2018. It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and an outlet called IndieBound. And we're hoping to get these stories out to people so they can enjoy the impact the accordion had 100 years ago on people. Today's 21st century culture is, as we all know, very divided, and it seems like we need something that would bring us back together again. And the accordion could be part of that. It worked before, and it still has that magic about it that brings people back together because they become happy when they hear the sound. A lot of folks had accordions somewhere in their background, so as soon as they hear the music, the memories flood back.
So how did the idea to create your book come about?
Well, quite frankly, there were quite a few folks when they heard I was collecting the stories, and generally it was when they visited our museum, because the impact of seeing 300 accordions or more in a vintage accordions in a museum, and then another 200 accordions that we have in our showroom that are for sale, they were overwhelmed. And then they heard some of the stories, and they would forcefully in some cases tell me, you've got to put this on paper. You've got to get this out to people, because it's not really about the equipment. It's about the impact the equipment had on the lives of people who were in trouble, who went through World War II, World War I, the Great Depression, that era when the accordion was most famous and most needed. And that, plus there was an individual named Tony Lavello, who was a noted accordionist. He just passed a year ago as of this discussion. His last words almost to me were, put the book together. You have to tell people about the accordion and what you found. It's too valuable not to let them know. So that was kind of my final promise to him, that I would publish the book, and now we have it. So it's a lot of pictures about the old accordions and a lot of stories. And I think it'll surprise a lot of people, make them happy.
Now, I've had the opportunity to hear your words today, and I've also read your book already. And one can feel the passion that you have in there, the caring for the instrument, but you also seem to have a very special place in your heart for accordionists. What makes them so special?
This is probably the most valuable comment I could make about that. To the person in these stories, I never heard of a mean person or a bully type person, or a very undesirable person playing an accordion. Generally speaking, the people that played were people that cared about other people. You see, when you strap on an accordion, you don't do that just for yourself. It makes too much noise. So other people are going to hear you wherever you are, pretty much. And you know that. So when you strap it on and start playing, you kind of, the music invites them to come in. And in the old days, they would come. And it would have a beneficial effect, and that would please the player. That's what they were trying to do. And I found through these stories that accordion players wanted that result. They actually cared about people to the extent, I don't know how many stories I have of people taking them into war zones with them. Now, these are 20, 30-pound items. If somebody puts you in a war zone, the last thing in the world you'll be thinking of bringing is your instrument, your accordion. But they did it because they knew at night or at some point during the day, the people, the troops, would need comfort, and the accordions would remind them. The accordions would remind them of their homes, their families, and friends. So these were very generous people to a person, and those stories are deeply touching, because they endangered their own health and well-being by lugging these things around with them. That's a way to put it, that what they wanted to do was pass on their happiness, their joy, as a gift. And they knew that one way to do it, a very efficient way, because you can touch a lot of people with just one song, was to make them happy by playing. And that was their gift to people, especially people in need, at critical moments in their lives.
Paul, as you can see, is a very special man with a very special mission in life, and that's to save the accordion. He's doing an amazing job, and I would like to encourage every one of us to come and visit him over in Canaan, Connecticut. He's recently moved to the abandoned railroad station, which has been turned into a museum and is apparently amazing. At the making of this little clip, I've not had the opportunity to visit this location, but I'm so eager to go. And you know that the moment that the Canadian borders open up for us and let me come across to go visit him, that I will. Everyone, please take care during these trying and hard times through the pandemic. Take care. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.